everyone. I'm Dana Perino, along with Kimberly Guilfoyle, Geraldo Rivera, Eric Bolling, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City. We're already laughing. This is The Five. So Donald Trump was supposed to be speaking at an event in South Carolina this hour where 10 of his opponents are gathered, but he pulled out of the forum last minute, citing a business deal he needed to attend to. It would have been his first appearance since a new controversy erupted for not correcting this supporter of his yesterday.
We have a problem in this country. It's called Muslims. We know our current president is one. Right. You know he's not even an American.
We need this
birth
question.
certificate,
This
man. But anyway, we have training camps growing where they want to kill us. Mm-hmm. That's my question. When can we get rid of it?
We're going to be looking at a lot of different things. And, you know, a lot of people are saying that, and a lot of people are saying that bad things are happening out there. We're going to be looking at that and plenty of other things.
Trump did not respond directly to the man's claim that President Obama is a Muslim who's not American, and he's getting plenty of pushback for it. Here was the White House earlier today.
Mr. Trump isn't the first Republican politician to countenance these kinds of views in order to win votes. In fact, that's precisely what every Republican presidential candidate is doing when they decline to denounce Mr. Trump's cynical strategy.
But actually, this Republican candidate denounced Trump earlier.
I'm not going to lecture him about what to do. I'll just tell you what I would do. And I wouldn't have permitted that if someone brought that up at a town hall meeting of mine. I would have said, no, listen, before we answer, let's clear some things up for the rest of the audience. And I think you have an obligation as a leader to do that.
In a statement, Trump says the media wants to make this about Obama. The bigger issue is that Obama is waging a war against Christians in this country. Christians need support in this country. Their religious liberty is at stake. Okay, there's a lot to cover here. Let's start with the protester. Greg, you had a suggestion earlier in the week that they could have dealt with this at the debate if they had a show of hands.
I assumed that this would have come up in the debate. They would ask the question, and Trump would have had to prepare to answer it because he should have seen this coming. However, I am not a conspiracy theorist. In fact, I'm anti-conspiracy theorist. But that guy's voice was like if a forwarded email had a voice, that would be the voice. All that's missing is stuff about FEMA camps and Jade Helm. You know, every campaign attracts nuts, but I'm sorry, that guy's. I swear Jimmy Kimmel is behind this because
Howard Stern, man.
Yeah,
Howard
because
Stern.
no one's okay. Look, when Joe the Plumber approached President Obama when he was running, within 5 minutes he knew who Joe the Plumber was. We have no idea who this guy is. He just disappeared. Having said that doesn't make Trump's response okay. Those are two separate stories. Trump should have been prepared. He should have been able to answer it, and he didn't. That's his problem. On the other hand, this is so fishy. It's just a fishy thing. Who was behind it? I don't know.
Well, the other thing is, Eric, the pulling out of the forum. So this is a big forum in South Carolina held by Heritage Action. It's happening, actually, as we speak. And he was expected to be there, as with everybody. And actually, I was watching some of it earlier. A good place for them to actually have longer time to answer questions that they didn't have at the debate the other night. Pulls out at the last minute citing a business deal. Is that going to pass the smell test?
Well, I don't. Who knows? Maybe it is a business deal. Maybe it's not. Lindsey Graham's not going to be there either, right? He's campaigning in Iowa. So for whatever reason, he didn't want to show up. It may be that he felt he was going to be attacked by 9 other candidates again. He went through that once this week. So listen, I'm not making excuses. I don't think it was a horrible response. I mean, he says he didn't.
You thought it was a good one?
No, he said he didn't hear the whole question. That's what he's saying. I mean,
it was a horrible response.
All right. Well, if you heard it and you chose not to say anything about it, I guess it could be deemed horrible. But his camp said that he didn't hear the full question or hear the full comment.
Go ahead, Geraldo.
My problem with it is when Trump started, and you know we love the guy, but when Trump started, like the Tea Party when it started, there was a fringe element there, very, very hard right, racist, haters. I'm talking about a very small fringe within the original. You didn't even let me put one sentence together. There was a fringe that he had to marginalized. Now he has college-educated people supporting him. Now he has women supporting him. But because of that background, and more importantly and more relevant to this discussion, because of Trump's own involvement as the architect of the birther movement as one of the principal.
Wait, Hillary,
no.
Hillary is the architect.
Well, that I know. That's another
started
conspiracy.
this. But we're all, by the way, we're all complicit.
That whole birther BS. It was incumbent on Donald Trump to cut that guy off at the knees immediately. Say, listen, he's not a Muslim. He's a Christian. He was born in this country. Next question.
The other thing,
I think he had to deal with it.
The other thing, Kimberly, that he says in his statement, I guess he's been trying to turn it around, is Donald Trump says that Obama is waging a war against Christians in this country. I thought that was like the harshest thing I've actually heard about Obama. I don't think it's fair, but it was pretty aggressive in a response.
But there's a lot of people in this country that do feel that there has been, unfair, treatment of Christians. There's been statements that the president has made that has really been cause for alarm when he's addressed groups and the way he's talked about Christians and the holy wars and all of that, saying that liking it to what some of these like radical terrorists have done about religious extremism, showing the parallel between the two. As far as Trump's concerned with respect to this, I think that to me seems like a complete plant. It was a setup. Yeah. It just sounds fake,
it's a joke,
and phony,
right?
and ridiculous.
It's almost comical the way that was delivered.
He had an opportunity to go ahead and just handle it and correct the record, et cetera, and say, listen, don't talk like that about the President of the United States. But then the guy said, well, my question actually is. So then he answered the question. It was, you've got to be so on your A game every second at this point, because especially when you're a front runner, this just goes to show you've got to be on top.
I'm not sure it was a plan. I mean, maybe it was a joke. It wasn't. But if you actually, if you've seen
whether it was or wasn't, you got to respond.
The online support for Donald Trump and the whole conservative movement, all of that stuff. Actually, this is repeating things that you see online all the time.
But I mean, these both things can be be true, but be different in the fact it could be it whether it's a plan or not. He had to be able to respond it.
Right.
So why was he incapable of responding it? One, he got comfortable around people who agree with him.
Yep.
He's a pundit as a candidate, so there's no need for policy. And he doesn't feel comfortable denigrating a fan. As a pundit, you don't denigrate fans because they might buy your books. So he was up there more as a pundit than the way John McCain was when he shut down that elderly woman who said the same thing. And this incident, in my opinion, is a microcosm of how we deal with our own fringe elements, whether on the left or the right. We are scared to shut them up, even though at times we encourage them. Hillary started the birther movement. We have people who have voiced similar sentiments and changed their minds. Trump had a moment there to say, I once believed this. Having done more research, I changed my mind.
Exactly.
But he lacks the guardrails of criticism. There aren't people telling him.
Isn't that what is putting him in first place?
Yeah, warts and all. It's warts and all.
I spent a half
got to go after the
Then
warts.
why would you cancel your opportunity to
Well, that's
express
an
it
excellent
today? I thought that's what everyone loved about him, is that he wasn't afraid.
Now everyone's talking about it.
I spoke
Both
with
sides of the media
Eric Trump for a half hour today. For a
Yeah.
half hour, Eric Trump said nothing about a plant. Eric Trump said his dad, who he adores and whose campaign he believes is going full steam ahead, he thinks that his dad handled it fairly well in dismissing it.
That's surprising.
That was Eric Trump's take on it, and that was at 11:30 today. No, but I'm saying, Greg, is that they had no allegation that it was a plant. When I said Howard Stern, that was a joke.
But it's not, the plant thing is irrelevant.
It's not a plant.
How do you
it's a guy
respond?
who likes Donald Trump.
Yeah, but guess what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it was someone who really thought that, believed it, showed up, and voiced it, or if it was somebody that came in to try and get a gotcha thing with him and get him in trouble. Regardless, you address it in the same way. You handle it.
Agreed.
You make the statement. You correct the record. You move on, and you answer the last part of the question.
Let me just show. We've mentioned Hillary Clinton a couple of times. She is the author of the birther movement. This was back at the last election in 2008 when she was running for president. But here's what she said today.
He knew, or he should have known, that what that man was asking was not only way out of bounds, it was untrue. And he should have, from the beginning, repudiated that kind of rhetoric, that level of hatefulness. I think it's prejudiced. I think it's discriminatory. I think it comes out of the same unfortunate reservoir of hateful rhetoric that we've seen too much of.
Back in 2008, one of her campaign circulated this anonymous email questioning President Obama's citizenship. I'll read it to you. It says, Barack Obama's mother was living in Kenya with his Arab African father late in her pregnancy. She was not allowed to travel by plane then. So Barack Obama was born there, and then his mother took him to Hawaii to register his birth. That's where it actually all started. And so I understand the White House wanting to go after Republicans, but I think the whole business is terrible.
She birthed the birther movement?
I think so.
She birthed
Well, no,
the
it's like who pushed the video and who pushed the birther
Were
issue.
you at the White House Correspondents' Center in 2011 when Seth Meyer really blasted Trump and Obama made fun of Trump's birther movement? It was humiliating for Donald Trump. He got very, very angry. He excoriated Seth Meyer, said he was a minor talent who should have never gotten the big job. But Trump was sufficiently aware of how raw this misguided position was, that he could have addressed it, he must have addressed it, and why he is not out there today saying that this is BS, that the Christians are under attack.
BS?
But where is he?
Poverty is 15% in the country. We have ISIS beheading people. We have refugees swarming borders everywhere, maybe even this border, and we're all doing 15 minutes on whether or not Trump heard a ridiculous question.
Well,
or not.
I mean, okay, come on. This entire summer has been
Yes.
something like that.
And you've been wanting to talk about Trump every day.
And one of the great stunts is to say, it's awful that we talk about this. Let's talk about it.
Eric, even you know you're full of bull.
I hate this issue, and here's what I think about it.
Also, I have to tell you, it's not an insult to be a Muslim.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand. Like, even the left's like, how dare you say that about Obama, that he's a Muslim? Well, first of all, it's not an insult
And
to be a
there
Muslim.
are no
Right, being
Muslim
agnostic.
training camps in the United States. Au contraire, there was a guy just indicted, a guy who ran for Congress from Tennessee, just indicted for plotting to blow up a Muslim community in upstate New York. It was, there are no Muslim training camps.
Well, there's sleeper cells.
Yeah.
Do you like those better?
Whoa.
All right. I think we've beaten that horse.
Do it more.
Okay?
I'm against beating horses.
Well,
Peter's
Peta's on the line. All
in
right,
favor
next
of
we
them.
turn to another candidate in the
unicorns.
forefront of the GOP race. That's Carly Fiorina. And later, it's Facebook Friday. Post your questions for us now on our page, facebook.com/the5FNC. We're back in a moment.